This is the important landmark judgment relating to Mumbai Kamgar Sabha versus Abdullabhai, Faizullabhai and others. Landmark judgment delivered by the Supreme Court in the year 1976, which revolves around recognition of customary bonuses beyond the payment of Bonus Act 1965 as around a trade union of 5,000 workers filed the petition against Abdullabhai, Faizullabhai and others. So the very facts and issues relating to this landmark judgment is around the customs, traditions and bonuses and cessation of ex gratia bonus payment. So, as it was adjudicated by the Honorable Apex Court in 1976, addresses critical issues surrounding the applicability of the Payment of Bonus Act 1965 to bonuses beyond profit-based incentives. This case delves into whether bonuses rooted in customs, traditions, or conditions of service are exempted from the provisions of the Payment of Bonus Act 1965, especially in small scale establishment excluded by the statute. Those parties involved include the Mumbai Kamgar Sabha, a union representing approximately 5,000 workers employed across over 1,000 small hardware businesses in Nagdevi, Bombay, and the restaurants comprising Abdullabhai, Faizullabhai, and others who are the proprietors of these hardware establishments. The central issues revolved around the cessation of ex gratia bonus payments by the employers. In 1965, the workers subsequently claimed for bonus based on customs and service conditions, and that legal boundaries set by the Payment of Bonus Act 1965 concerning such claims. So, the interpretation of the Act was made by the Supreme Court, in particularly in aspects like the very scope of the Act, the customary bonuses, and also regarding exclusionary provisions. So, the court exactly interpreted the very scope of the Act. This Act primarily regulates profit-based bonuses as evident by its provisions focusing on profit calculation and distribution. It does not explicitly encompass bonuses arising from customs or service conditions. So also it interpreted what exactly customary bonuses means. The court recognized that bonuses based on long-standing customs and service conditions are distinct from profit-based bonuses. Such bonuses emerge from consistent employer behavior and mutual expectations not directly tied to profitability. So also court interpreted the exclusionary provisions under the Act, while the Payment of Bonus Act 1965 excludes establishments with fewer than 20 workers from its ambit. This exclusion does not extend to bonuses arising from customs or service conditions. Further, the court interpreted the provisions relating to res judicata. The court dismissed the argument that prior arbitral decisions for the current claims. It clarified that the previous decisions pertained exclusively to profit-based bonus claims and did not address or for preclude claims based on custom. The court emphasized that the bonus act mandate is not to be interpreted as a comprehensive code obliterating all other forms of bonuses. Instead, it serves a specific purpose within its defined scope, allowing other bonus types to coexist legally. And while deciding the very judgment, in particularly delivering before the judgment in Mumbai Kamgar Sabha vs. Abdullabhai, Faizullabhai and others, the court cited some other precedents and examined the very applicability of those precedents, and in particularly would like to discuss those precedents. In particularly, the judgment extensively made reference to previous cases to elucidate the legal landscape surrounding bonus claims, in particularly the first of the important leading case, that is Charukulam Tea State of 1969, where explored the elements constituting an implied agreement for puja bonus, establishing criteria for continuous and uneventful bonus payments. Further, the court assessed the Graham Trading Company of 1960 judgment were differentiated between implied contractual bonuses and those based on customs, emphasizing the consistency and regularity required for the latter. And further, the court cited the important leadings relating to Bombay companies of 1964, where it was affirmed the existence of customary bonuses separate from profit-based incentives. Further, the court cited the judgment in Mahalakshmi Cotton Mills Limited in 1952, where the judgment laid down tests for enforcing implied agreements or bonus payment based on regularity and implied contractual terms. Further, the court also cited the judgment of Gavor Chand in 1969, where the judgment addressed the scope of the Bonus Act, particularly its exclusionary provisions for certain small establishments concerning profit-based bonus. These precedents collectively inform the court's understanding that bonus are not monolithic and can exist outside the statutory framework provided by the Bonus Act. And finally, we would like to make a critical assessment of the judgment and in where it was exactly laid down that the apex court or the Supreme Court made, and as presided over by the then Justice V.R. Krishna, have critically examined whether the payment of bonus of 1965 serves as an exhaustive code superseding all forms of bonus, including those based on custom or service conditions. The case originated when employers in Nagdevi discontinued annual ex gratia bonus payments, leading the workers' union to claim a right to bonus based on established customs and conditions of service. As arbitral board and subsequent land industrial tribunal dismissed the workers' claims, citing res judicata and asserting that the Payment of Bonus Act 1965 comprehensively covered all bonus-related claims. The Union appealed this decision, prompting the Supreme Court to revisit the matter. The Supreme Court held that Payment of Bonus Act 1965 does not preclude claims to bonuses based on customs and service conditions outside the profit-based framework the Act addresses. Additionally, the apex court rejected the argument of res judicata, allowing the industrial tribunal to adjudicate the workers' claim on their merit. And further, what are the impacts were left by this landmark judgment that we would like to discuss, as this very particular judgment had left some lasting impacts on such as recognition of bonus types, enhanced workers' rights, and judicial flexibility and encouragement of good faith, and for industrial tribunal and ex gratia payment. So this judgment has significant implications for industrial law and labor relations in India, in particularly recognition of diverse bonus types by affirming that the bonus act does not bear customary or service conditions based bonuses. The court opened avenues for workers in small scale and excluded establishments to claim bonuses based on established practices. Further, the impact led to enhanced workers' rights. The decision underscores the importance of long-standing employer-employee relationships and mutual expectations, reinforcing worker entitlements beyond statutory minimums. Further judicial flexibility while rejecting the rigid application of res judicata in this context. The court promoted a more new approach to industrial disputes, allowing tribunals to consider the merits of each case individually. Further, impact led to encouragement of good faith in employment practices. Employers are incentivized to maintain consistent bonus payments as part of a fair and ethical employment relationship, fostering industrial peace. Further cases involving bonus will likely reference this judgment to delineate the boundaries between statutory and custom-based bonus, ensuring that labor rights are protected comprehensively. So it is a legislative framework. The Payment of Bonus Act 1965 in India that mandates employers to pay bonuses to employees under certain conditions, primarily based on the profits of the establishment. And further, we would like to conclude our lecture on this very important judgment, that is Mumbai Kamgar Sabha vs. Faizullabhai. In 1976, the very judgment was delivered by the Supreme Court. So the conclusion that we would like to make on this landmark judgment is that the Supreme Court's decision in this important judgment serves as a pivotal reference point in distinguishing between statutory and customary forms of bonus payments by affirming that the Payment of Bonus Act 1965 does not extinguish the right to claim bonuses based on tradition or service conditions. The court upheld the worker's right to seek remuneration reflective of established practices. The judgment reinforces the necessity for a balanced interpretation of labor laws, ensuring that while statutory frameworks provide essential guidelines, they do not stifle recognized and fair employment practices developed through consistent employer-employee interactions. Consequently, the decision fosters an environment where industrial peace and workers' welfare are jointly promoted, aligning legal mandates with socio-economic realities. Overall, Mumbai Kamgar Sabha vs. Faizullabhai and others underscores the judiciary's role in interpreting laws contextually, considering both statutory language and the underlying social principles that aim to protect and enhance the welfare of the working class. So, this was a landmark judgment delivered by the apex court or Supreme Court, in particularly relating to the scope and applicability of the provisions of that statute Payment of Bonus Act 1965, and also regarding the customary bonuses based on customs traditions, and also on the cessation of ex gratia bonus payment. In this very lecture, we have discussed regarding the very scope of the statute, that is the Payment of Bonus Act 1965, and what is customary bonuses and how they are exclusively not related to Payment of Bonus Act 1965, and these exclusionary provisions are applied by the apex court, and while delivering the judgment also, the apex court expressed that res judicata would not be applied in such cases, and in that delivering the judgment, the apex court made reference to some precedents or all decided cases such as Shurra Kulam Tea Estate of 1969, Graham Trading Company of 1960, Bombay Company of 1964, and Mahalakshmi Cotton Mills Limited of 1952, and Gawar Chan 1969. So, in those important judgments, the court made reference to such precedents, and finally, the very judgment delivered by the apex court in 1976 had great impacts, such as recognition of bonus stripes, enhanced workers' right, and judicial flexibility, while rejecting the very principles of res judicata while applying here in this particular landmark judgment, and also led for development and encouragement of good faith in between the employer and employees in relation to industrial relation, establishment of industrial tribunal and ex gratia payments.